The day the alien warrior woman walked into my lab, the security cameras didn't register her as a threat. That was the first mistake humanity made. I was alone, as usual, buried beneath a cathedral of humming machines and pale blue light. The Deep Space Linguistics Lab sat 3 miles underground, a necessity after the riots that followed first contact. People said they wanted answers from the stars, but what they really wanted was certainty. Science rarely provides that. The door at the far end of the lab slid open with a sound like ice cracking. I didn't look up at first. "If you're here about clearance forms," I muttered, "you'll need to talk to." My voice died in my throat. She stood framed in the doorway, taller than any human woman I had ever seen, her posture rigid and precise. Her armor was not metallic, but grown, dark, layered plates that looked almost organic, etched with faintly glowing symbols that shifted as if alive. Her skin shimmered with a faint bronze hue, and her eyes were wrong. Not monstrous, not inhuman, just too focused, like a predator's that had already chosen its prey. She carried no visible weapon. That frightened me more than if she'd been armed to the teeth. "You are Dr. Elias Rowan," she said, her voice low, resonant, and perfectly enunciated. I swallowed. "Yes. I am Karseva of the Virex Dominion," she said. "Warrior caste. I require an answer." I slowly reached for the silent alarm under my desk, but her gaze flicked downward, tracking the movement before I completed it. "Do not summon them," she said calmly. "They would only die." That was the second mistake humanity made. Assuming diplomacy would always come with warnings. She took one step forward. The floor did not tremble, but something in my chest did. I had spent years translating intercepted alien signals, decoding fragments of languages never meant for human tongues. I had prepared for this moment in theory. In reality, my hands shook. What answer do you need?" I asked. She tilted her head slightly, studying me as if I were an equation with too many unknowns. "Your species claims moral authority," she said. "You speak of rights, autonomy, and the sanctity of life. Before my people decide your fate, I must know if this claim is true." I frowned. "That's a broad topic." Her eyes narrowed. "Here's the question, Dr. Rowan." She stepped closer, until I could see faint scars beneath her armor, old and deliberate. "If survival demands the destruction of another thinking species, does your kind believe it deserves to live?" The room felt suddenly too small. That was the dangerous question. I leaned back in my chair, mind racing. Humanity had debated variations of that question for millennia, usually from a position of hypothetical safety. But Karseva wasn't asking philosophically. She was asking tactically. "You're talking about extinction," I said carefully. "Yes." "Whose?" She paused, just long enough to be deliberate. "Possibly yours." I forced myself to breathe evenly. "And if I answer wrong?" "You confirm our calculations." I had access to classified projections, models showing alien expansion, resource scarcity, conflict points. The Virex Dominion was one of the most feared powers beyond Earth's borders. A warrior caste did not send philosophers. They sent executioners. "You should know," I said slowly, "that humanity doesn't agree on anything. You're asking me to speak for billions." "You were chosen because you question your own kind," she replied. "That makes your answer valuable." I laughed weakly. "Or dangerous." She did not disagree. I stood and walked toward the observation window, where simulated star maps floated in holographic layers. "We've faced this question before," I said. "Not with aliens, but with ourselves. War. Genocide. Colonialism. Every time we convinced ourselves it was necessary." "And," she asked. "And every time we were wrong," I said. "Even when we survived, we lost something essential." Karseva's expression remained unreadable. Sentiment does not alter biology. Two species cannot always coexist. "No," I admitted. "But survival isn't the same as deserving to survive." Her eyes flickered, the faint glow within them intensifying. "Explain." "If survival requires annihilating another thinking species, I said. Then you're not choosing life. You're choosing supremacy. And supremacy always ends the same way, with no one left worth saving. Silence stretched between us, heavy and electric. You would allow your species to die? She asked. I turned to face her. I would allow us to be judged by our choices. If we become monsters to live, then maybe we don't. For the first time, something changed in her posture. Not weakness, hesitation. My people believe strength defines worth, she said. We have culled entire civilizations to preserve ourselves. And has it worked? I asked softly. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached up and deactivated a section of her armor. The plates parted, revealing not flesh, but a lattice of glowing scars, symmetrical and deliberate. These are marks of survival, she said. Each represents a species erased. We carry them so we never forget. I felt sick. Do you ever wonder, I asked, what you might have learned from them instead? Her gaze hardened, then wavered. The Dominion faces extinction, she said quietly. Our star is dying faster than predicted. Your system is compatible. There it was. The real reason. You don't need to destroy us to survive, I said. You need cooperation. Your leaders rejected our initial proposals, she replied. They didn't trust you, I said. Now you know why. She turned away, pacing slowly. If we share our fate with you, she said, we risk our end. And if you destroy us, I said, you become exactly what you fear. She stopped pacing. Your answer will be presented to the High Tribunal, she said. They will decide. I met her gaze. Then tell them this. Survival without conscience is just a slower extinction. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she reactivated her armor and stepped back toward the doorway. You may have doomed your species, she said. Or saved yours, I replied. She paused at the threshold. Dr. Rowan. Yes. If your kind dies, she said, your words will haunt us. And if we live? I asked. Her lips curved into something that was not quite a smile. Then, she said, we will have to learn how. She left without another sound. Weeks passed. No invasion came. No contact either. Earth waited, breath held, while politicians postured and militaries prepared for a war they knew they couldn't win. Then the transmission arrived. The Virex Dominion proposed a shared migration, shared resources, shared risk. It was unprecedented, dangerous, terrifying. Humanity argued, as it always did. But this time, we chose not to destroy what we did not yet understand. Years later, I would see Karseva again, standing beside human diplomats beneath an artificial sky. Still armored, still scarred. You asked a dangerous question, I said. And you gave a dangerous answer, she replied. Above us, two species began the long, fragile work of survival, not by conquest, but by choice. And for the first time, the universe felt a little less empty.